Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah, yeah, baby, I feel the same way. I gotta go. Hello? I am Professor Hasskreidt, and you are not. Today we are going over tonight's homework. That's somewhat challenging. There's new information in it. It requires you to, of course, think, which is your job. Take it seriously, eh? Okay. The first thing it asks you to do on page 54 is look at the tour revenue and expenses from the tour revenue expenses for this scenario that they set up. And you see that they break the expenses down. First, they will go by the number of customers. Each customer, according to the story, each customer will bring $350 of revenue. Revenue is the money that the customer gives you. It's what you make. Okay? It's what is brought in by the business. Okay? So one customer earns you $350. Two customers earn you $700. Three customers earn you $1,050. Four customers, and I'll try using my handy calculator. It's very common in my country to color the backs of calculators orange. There's nothing strange about that. We shall clear. 350 times 4. That's not right. Hold on just a second. Seems that the memory needs to be cleared from this crazy thing. Okay, 350 times 4 would give you $1,400, and so on and so forth. The exercise asks you to continue this to six customers. Okay? Each customer gives us $350. When you hear the word each, frequently that means multiplication or division. When you hear each, think multiplication or division. Okay, moving on. They then outline the expenses. The expenses in this exercise, just a little bit closer. This camera's getting awfully close. Makes me nervous. Okay. They get narrowed down to the bike rental itself and to food and camp costs. How much are those? Each one per customer will be 30 plus 125. That is 30 times each customer for the bike rental. And food and camp costs, $125 per customer. Again, that's another one of those magic words. Per. Per usually means multiplication too, or division. Okay? So, what would our total expenses be? That's not difficult. It's going to be 30 times 1 for this one, plus 125 times 1, which is going to be 155. That's our total expenses. So think to yourself, our total expenses are going to be 30 times the number of customers plus 125 times the number of customers. Okay, the same, you're going to see the same is true here. Okay, 250 equals 125 times the number of customers. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's do one more here. Our total expenses for this one will be $60, which is 2 times that $30 per customer, plus 2 times the 125. 60 plus 250 will be, what is that, $310. Now, what is the profit? When do we know that we've made a profit? This is the hardest part of running a business, is making sure that it can continue to be profitable. That is, it will continue to support itself and to make money so that it is worth being in the business in the first place. How do we compute that? Total profit will be the revenue less the total costs or total expenses. Same thing. Okay, so what is the profit here? Okay, our total expenses were $155 and our total revenue was $350 for one customer. So how much is that going to be? We take our handy dandy, very normal calculator that happens to have an orange back, and we subtract 155 from 350. Oops. And that yields a profit of $195. Okay, that's for one customer. They make 120, paying all expenses. That's how much money the business yields. Next, let's look at the next one. The next one, 2 customers provide a revenue of $700. 700 minus the total expenses, which are 310, yielding $390. It appears that the profit is increasing. And we just keep going on that. I'll do one more just to make sure that you're caught on. I'm sure that you have. And then you can do the rest on your own. I mean, I ain't going to do your whole homework for you. I'm doing this for free because I'm such a nice guy. Okay. 3 customers yield $1,050. How much are our total expenses? They're going to be 3 customers times 30 for the bike rental, which is $90 total, plus 3 times 125 per person, which gives us $375 per person. We add those together. 90 plus 375 gives us 465 expenses. So, our total profit will be our revenue, which is $1,050, minus our total expenses, $465, which gives us a profit of 585 grams. That's pretty good. Just for running some silly tour. Okay, so then you finish this table on your own, eh? Okay. Now, let's look at the next ones, because those are the real guts of the algebra. Vamos a spray. Okay. I hear your school will be going to see a movie that includes some history. I know some history. Maybe tomorrow I'll do something on that to help prepare you for that movie. Here, it's a very good movie. What is the next problem I ask you for on this page? It says, write a rule in words and an equation for calculating the revenue for n customers. I'll let you go ahead and write the verbal version on your own. Okay? But think about it. we want to know, we want to be able to project, which is one of the key parts of business. We want to be able to know in advance how much money we can expect from the customers that we predict that we're going to get. Okay, so let's say that there are 10 customers or 20 customers. We need to know how much revenue that gets us. Well, if you look at the chart that you made, that'll have total of, what is that, 6 entries? 6 customers total. So you can see the pattern. Okay? We know that each customer, and you heard that word each again, eh? Each customer brings in $350. And we know that there are an unknown number of customers. You can't predict, you can never predict exactly how many people are going to walk through the door of your business. So it's 350 times the unknown, which in this case is N. 350 times the number of customers. The convention among mathematicians is we take this dot out, which means multiplication, and just write 350N equals revenue. Is that are those the variables that want us to use? Those are the variables that want us to use, except the one in lowercase r. R equal 350 times, and let's move this equal to a normal spot, not a weird spot, times the number of customers, which is an unknown. We don't know how many there will be. There may be one customer, in which case we're going to cry and wonder when bankruptcy court is, or 100 customers come in which case we make 350 times 100, which would be 35,000 in one day, which is pretty good. Okay? Pretty good, it's spectacular. Okay, so this is the first one. Revenue for N customers. The second one, this is question B, part 2. Total expenses E for N customers. How did we compute that before? Again, look back at this table. It tells you everything you need to know. You just have to look for the pattern. Total expenses. And they want us to use E. Total expenses is going to equal the number of customers, which is still N. Let's use some nice brackets here. Times $30 for each bike rental. Again, we heard that word each. Plus that same number of customers times the food and camp costs, which are $125 per person. So everybody say N times 30 plus N times 125. The number of customers times $30 per person. Again, you heard that word per, it's magic. And $125 per person for food and camp expenses. Again, we go by the conventions in mathematics. E will therefore equal N times 30, or 30N, plus 125N. Groovy. Okay. Finally, it says profit for N customers. Well, that's easy at this point. Okay? You take your total revenue, which we computed in problem 1, and you subtract the total expenses. Okay? So what does that look like? It looks like this. Here we've got our total expenses. Our total revenue was 350 N minus our total expenses. Revenue, expenses. Revenue minus expenses equals equals, stay with me, profit. This is our whole thing here. Make sure you see the whole thing in its beauty. Let me get out of the way of the light. There, you see the whole thing. P for profit equals the total revenue, which is $350 for each person who is a customer, minus the total of $30 per customer for bike rental, plus $125 per customer for the food and camp expenses. Now, we have something that's kind of magical here. Now we can predict the future. We have an equation that allows us to predict the future. So let's leave this up here. That was very loud. So let us say one of the things that this asks us to do for letter C, use the equation you wrote in question B to find the revenue, expenses, and profit for 20 customers. Okay? Now I'm not going to do that for you, but I will do it for 10 customers. Instead of having to go through all this mess here with this table, now we have an equation which allows us to do it automatically. P equals 350 times n minus 30 times n plus 125 times n. Now all we have to do, we want to look at, I'm going to do one example, but I'm not going to do the one in the book, because you have to do that. So let us plug in P for profit equals 350 times n. N is 10, so all we have to do is add a 0. 350 times 10 is going to be 3,500 minus 30 times n, which is 300 plus 125n, which is 1,250. We multiplied times 10 customers in each of these cases. 10 customers, which means all we had to do is just add a 0 to the end. And so, what is our profit? It's going to be, let's subtotal these, 300 plus 1250 is $1,550. Are you still able to see? Yes. And 3,500 minus 1,550 equals, the profit will be 1,950. We now see the miracle of algebra. It allows us to make predictions of the future using simple mathematics. Questions? I can't hear you because it's on the internet. But you can email them. Hasskreidt@gmail. I'll keep an eye on my email tonight while I do my work and you do your work. Don't forget, do your homework. Eat your vegetables. Listen to your parents. Work hard. Exercise every day. Do what I tell you, and you will be successful. I bid you good night.